chicken pox. Man, that word probably brings back some memories, right? Itchy nights, that pink calamine lotion. For a lot of us, it just felt like a rite of passage. But the story of this illness is actually way more interesting and complex than you might remember, starting with its most famous calling card. Yeah, does this look familiar? That classic, blotchy, blistery rash is pretty much the poster child for chickenpox. For generations, it was just an expected and pretty miserable part of growing up. But what exactly is it? All right, let's start with the basics of this very familiar foe. So it's really important to know that chickenpox isn't just a skin thing. It's a super contagious disease, and it's all caused by a virus called the varicella zoster virus, or VZV for short. Those itchy little fluid-filled blisters, they're just the most obvious sign that this virus is at work inside the body. And it is not a minor inconvenience. We're talking about a single kid getting up to 500 of those blisters. That means almost a full week of missed school. And you know what that means for parents, right? A week of missed work. It can totally throw a family's whole life into chaos. So yeah, we all remember the itch. But the real story of chickenpox is about the serious risks it can pose. It is so much more than just a simple childhood illness. And what's really surprising is who's most at risk. We tend to think of it as just a kid's disease, but it can get incredibly severe, even life-threatening, for babies, for teenagers, and for adults. And it's especially dangerous for pregnant people or really anyone with a weakened immune system. For these folks, chickenpox is a major medical threat. So, what makes this virus such an expert at spreading? Let's take a quick look at how it gets from one person to another. Get ready for this number because it is absolutely staggering. Up to 90% of people who aren't immune will get infected if they have close contact with someone who has chickenpox. That makes it one of the most contagious viruses out there, period. The virus basically has two main ways of spreading. The most common one is just through close contact with someone who has chickenpox. But it has this sneaky trick up its sleeve. See, after you recover, the virus doesn't actually leave your body. It can just hang out dormant for decades and then pop back up as shingles. And if someone comes into contact with the fluid from those shingles blisters, they can get chickenpox if they're not immune. But the story doesn't end there with doom and gloom. In fact, this is where the entire narrative of chickenpox just flips on its head, all thanks to a huge breakthrough in public health. And the solution, according to the Centers for Disease Control, is crystal clear. The development of a safe and effective vaccine was the game changer. It allowed us to go from just treating a super common disease to actually preventing it from happening in the first place. And that is the whole point of the vaccine. It's not just about preventing a few itchy spots. It's about preventing those really dangerous, severe cases that could land someone in the hospital or even worse. And for that job, it is incredibly effective. I mean, the results just speak for themselves. Since the vaccination program started here in the US, we've seen a more than 97% drop in chickenpox cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. That is a massive public health success story. Okay, now, before the vaccine was common, some people had a very different idea about how to handle this virus, which led to a really dangerous myth. You've probably heard of chickenpox parties, right? The idea was that parents would intentionally get their kids around an infected kid to get it over with, like it was a natural way to build immunity. But the reality is, there is just no way to know who's going to have a mild case and who's going to end up with severe or even deadly complications. It's a complete roll of the dice. So the official guidance is totally unambiguous. Taking a chance with the disease itself is just not worth the risk. The vaccine gives you the immunity without anyone having to actually get sick or face those dangerous consequences. And this is the bottom line. This is the result of that whole transformation. What used to be an unavoidable part of growing up, a threat that sickened millions of people every single year, is now a rare, preventable disease. It's all thanks to a safe and effective vaccine. It really makes you think, doesn't it? We took something that was just an accepted fact of life, and we basically made it a thing of the past. It leaves you with this really cool question. What other common problems of today will just be stories we tell our grandkids about tomorrow?